What's going on, Sunbelt fans? Jumping into tonight's action. Thursday, February 9th, first tip, 7 p.m. James Madison, a 4-point favorite at Georgia Southern. JMU on a 4-game win streak, Southern on a 4-game losing streak. JMU won previous meeting by 12 points, but Georgia Southern returning home for the first time in 5 games. JMU hasn't been winning by the larger margins that they did earlier in the season. I'm thinking upset here. I'm calling Georgia Southern 66, James Madison 62. Another 7 p.m. tip, ODU a 1-point favorite going up against Georgia State down there in Atlanta. ODU just 3-4 away from home. Have won last 2 on the road though. Georgia State 10-6 at home. They play pretty well. They did have a scrappy win versus Georgia Southern and a respectable loss versus USM. I got this one as a close one, but I'm favoring ODU barely. 65, Georgia State 63. Another 7 p.m. tip, Marshall an 8.5-point favorite at Coastal Carolina. Marshall just 3-2 in the last 5, but they exploded for over 100 points versus Georgia State. Could they have that type of game again? Coastal, 5-game losing streak. They need to really find that consistent score. They had those 2 overtime victories before they went on this 5-game streak, and they really haven't had Oduje be the player that he had been, and they really haven't had a whole lot of people step up. Kalen Blackman tried to do that in the last game, but ULM just shot amazingly from 3. So in this one, I'm favoring Marshall to have another offensive explosion, and Coastal to just still kind of be in that same realm of where they've been. So I'm favoring Marshall 85, Coastal 64. 7:30 p.m. tip, App State, somehow a 2-point favorite going to Monroe to face the Warhawks. App is on a 2-game skid. They're not really shooting well. Their last quality win on the road was about a month ago versus James Madison. Meanwhile, ULM just 2-3 in their last 5. They're hot and cold shooting, but when they're hot shooting, it just seems like they can't miss, and they had that type of game last Thursday. It's only been a week different. They're playing at home. App State, again, hasn't been great. I'm favoring ULM in this one at home. I think they're the more consistent, well-rounded team all the way around. ULM 68, App 59. 8 p.m. tip, Arkansas State travels to Texas State, where the Bobcats are a 6.5-point favorite. They're both just 1-4 in their last 5 outings, but Texas State is on a 3-game skid, while the Red Wolves kind of put up one of their more impressive performances of the year, really. Only got, one of their few wins in conference, but they did win that last one. So I'm favoring them to kind of keep that hot streak going. I know Texas State is good defensively, but I'm favoring the Red Wolves to kind of keep this little momentum they have going. Arkansas State 67, Texas State 64. 8:15 tip, South Alabama travels to Troy. Troy somehow a 3-point favorite. This one we know these 2 schools don't particularly like each other. Should be a good one. South Alabama has a 3-game win streak. Troy just 2-3 in their last 5. But South Alabama just beat Troy by 17 points. I'm not taking crazy pills here, right? How is Troy favored by 3 points? I'm not taking them. I got USA, South Alabama 72, Troy 68. 8:30 p.m. tip, Louisiana versus Southern Miss. Southern Miss, a 2.5-point favorite at home. You've got a 10-game win streak for the Cajuns, 7-game win streak for the Golden Eagles. You've got UL with a 7-4 road record. USM with a 12-0 7-4 for the Cajuns on the road, 12-0 at home for the Golden Eagles. Both 10-2 in conference. This one, we thought maybe Louisiana versus Marshall was the game of the year. I think it's going to be this one now. That one didn't end up turning out all that great. This one's going to pick up the pace. It's going to be the best game in the Sun Belt. We may have an overtime game. The Cajuns won the first matchup, though, 75-61, so do take note of that. Now, that was at the Cajun Dome, so obviously it's going to favor them in that regard. This one's on the road. It's got to be closer game, right? It's got to be closer. I don't see a 14-point difference. I do see the Cajuns pulling it out just to the eye test, solely the eye test. USM had that really slow start last week. They have to avoid that if they want to play and beat the Cajuns in this one. I am taking the Cajuns in a very, very close game. UL 73, USM 72, but don't miss that one. Don't fall asleep early. Check that game out. Best game of the year in the Sun Belt. Thanks for watching. We'll see how these games turn out.